Hello guys, welcome back. So today we are going to talk about a portion of the nervous system, and this is the peripheral nervous system. And I will also use this opportunity to go over uh, the uh, the lab. Yeah, so basically to finish a lab a report to identify some key parts of our peripheral sensory organ. So let's get started. Once again, let me share my screen. So that's this one here. So just get started. We talked about this already. This is when we talk about tissue, we talk about four types of tissue: the epithelium, muscle, connective tissue, and the nerve. And so when we talk about nerve, this is the slides that we use. We say that the nervous system has two portions. One is called, or two systems. One is called central nervous system that include the brain and the spinal cord. So that's that. We also have the peripheral nervous system. That is the one to interact with the surrounding environment. So in that peripheral nervous system, they leave the brain, leave the spinal cord, and they interact with the muscle and interact with their sensory organs. And so for the peripheral nervous system, we have two systems. One is called the sensory system. That's one to get the information back to our brain. So this gather the information of the environment and transport those, send those information to our brain. We also have the motor system that leave the brain to control our muscle. So those peripheral nerve system has like two-way communication. One is getting information in, the other one is sending out the the command from your brain. So that's that. Um, we in today's lecture, we are going to talk about these sensory portion, the sensory system. We will focus on basically touch on those sensory organ. Our human has several methods to detect the world or get a feeling about your environment, and those are very unique. They can pick up information. For example, you can see, you can smell, you can hear, you can touch, you can test. So that is all the information, sensory information that you can gather in your environment and then transmit that information to your brain so your brain can have an understanding of your environment. And those sensory required to be picked up by the sensory organ. And so that's the organ that we are going to talk about, such as the visual, the eye, hearing, the ear, taste, the tongue, touch, your skin. So all these are going to be the topics today. So the sensory system has many type of the sensory. We can smell. Here I show you the terminology. To smell is the olfactory nervous system. To see is visual system. To hear is auditory system. To feel the hand movement or body balance, this is done by vestibular system. So we can sense your, basically we are pretty good at detecting the gravity. So we know that you're standing or you're laying down. If you fall, you immediate reflex in order to prevent you from falling, hitting your head basically. Test is a gustatory system. Touch. Touch is done by your skin. And so you can see that all these are involved only in your head. So those are transmitted through cranial nerve. Smell is here, vision is here, hearing is here, vestibular is in the inner ear, so it's also in the head. Taste is also in your mouth, that is also in your head. So all these are in your head, and all these are transmit signal to your brain through cranial nerve. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerve. The only exception of sensory that's not only in the head is somatic sensory, such as touch. Touch is a simple way to say it. We can feel touch, we can feel temperature, we can also feel pain. So all these three are the primary one in our skin, somatic sensory system. Yeah. So we will look at these sensory organ one at a time. So a lot of those are pretty common, like you should kind of know. Nobody will question the eye is one to see, the nose is one to smell, the ear is one to hear, right? So it's people know that because this is our body. But I'm just going to present you some detail to it, so there will be some terminology. I was talking to one student, like couple students the other day, like it's all it basically learning medical field basically it's all about wording, the terminology. Yeah, basically that getting into become professional is to know those words. Basically, it's like language class in a way. Yeah. Um, when we come, so the way I suggest students is that when you learn a new terminology, this is a new word, see that terminology like your new 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 like roommates. How about that? Yeah, or your very important person not it may not be like your family member, but it's a new person, it's important, like your classmates. How about that? Your classmates. So every terminology you see like that, and so the way mm, to so see those new terminology, each one of them, see them as a new classmate, and so like repeat how pronunciation, call their name multiple times, then you become friends. The more you call it, the more you become friends. Yeah. So always think about new terminology, be familiar with the terminology by repetition. And when you repeat those, thinking about location and the function. So that help you to link things together. All right. So the somatic sensory system, let's go by the first one, touch right here. So somatic sensory system are in the organ is our skin. So this is the skin anatomy, basically, the simple version of the anatomy, the skin. So what we have is that we have the epithelium cell. So that's the epithelium tissue. So you have a multiple layer. The feature of the epithelium is that they are packed in layers. So you can see that these are packed in layer. Skin has a three layer. You have the epidermis. Here is the dermis, and then down here is the hypodermis. Yeah. So in the skin, you can see that the epidermis, the difference between epidermis and dermis is that epidermis you don't see blood. So here you don't see the blood. uh, Dermis, you will start to see the blood. Here it doesn't show you here the blood vessel coming in. So another picture you probably show you here. You can see the blood vessel. So in the dermis, you see the blood. Epidermis, there's no blood. So when you get a cut, if you don't see the blood, you pretty good. You don't really damage anything yet. This epidermis is pretty much, even though it's your body, but a lot of those are dead skin, so dead cells. So they will recover. Even if you don't cut it, they will get shed away anyway. So it's not going to cause too much of the scar in your body. But if you cut it to the level that you start to see the blood, then you cut to the dermis level, then you will see the scar. If it doesn't heal good enough. So that's the skin. So what I want to get your attention here is that in the skin, we have many sensory receptors. Here, each one of these has a name, like Pacinian corpuscle, Meissner corpuscle, Ruffini and endings. All of these have a unique function. That's why we need all of them. Some of them are sensitive in vibration. Some of them are sensitive to the initial sensitivity, but they adapt very quickly. That's part of our sensory. If you like put your eyeglasses on, you know it, you feel it, and you feel the pressure, but give it time, you kind of forget about it. So that's called the adaptation. Yeah. So our sensory are pretty good at especially the adaptation that it stimulate you, and then keep on stimulation is not going to trigger any effects in our nervous system. Some of those are more superficial, some of them are more deeper. So that's a sensory. When you excite it, they will send signal into the spinal cord because this is our skin, basically, there are some in the head. So for the head one, it will go through the cranial nerve. The one down below the neck, it will go to the spinal cord. And in our previous lab, we talk about the we talk about the central nervous system. We're looking into those uh, uh, plexus. Those basically are the nerve plexus, provide the sensory that will be in your skin and then the muscle. So all the way coming from all the way connected to the spinal cord. So that's the somatic sensory. Just go through the terminology here. Naming, all right. Just new friends. Epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. Uh, Multiple layers. Here you have different kind of sensory receptor. Free nerve ending. It detects pain, heat, cold, temperature. Merkel's disc, cross, and bulb. And a lot of these are called the so-called the mechanoreceptor. They feel when you touch it. You have to provide some mechanical change, like like mechanism, like mechanical, like physically change, basically. Yeah. Meissner corpuscle, Pacinian corpuscle, Ruffy endings. Yeah. Mechanoreceptor in the skin, ectoreceptor. receptor. And dermis, and here you see there are hairs. These are root hair plexus that detect, allow you that when somebody touch your skin, even before they touch your skin, they touch your hair, you can sense it. You also have a sweat gland. So we will the other side right here talking about the sweat gland. So our body has two type of the sweat glands. Our body have three type of glands, basically three major type of glands. Two of them are sweat gland. Uh, they are the effectors for body temperature homeostatic loop. So here is the sweat gland. So the glands have a tube all the way up to your skin. And so here you have the sweat pores on the surface of your skin. And then we have a type of sweat gland. One is called eccrine sweat gland. And this one release more watery sweat. So it's not very thick. It's called hypotonic, very watery, basically. Another one is called uh, apocrine sweat gland. This one produce more thicker sweat, and you can see that it doesn't really reach out to the skin directly, surface of the skin directly. They connect with the hair follicle. So hair follicle, you have this like a hair root coming down here, and so it will provide that fluid, and then using that tunnel, and then release those sweat on the surface. So that's that. We also have one that's not a sweat gland, but this one is one to be attached to the hair follicle. That's called sebaceous gland. This one, sebaceous gland, is more oily. Is the one to uh, provide additional protection to your hair. And so because it's oily, so it kind of like puts some ointment on your hair, and that can help you to keep the hair moisture, your skin to be moistured, and also uh, provide some protection from the wind, the weather, and yeah. So that's that. Skin in the epidermis layer. So here's dermis, and this is the epidermis. We see layer of the epithelium cells. What I want you to pay attention here is that this layer, each layer has a name. So from the bottom, we have stratum basale. Going up, we have stratum spinosum. Further up, you have stratum granulosum. Further up, we have stratum lucidum. Further up, we have stratum corneum. And so the only layer that uh, is more lively, more alive, is the lower layer. So here you can see that stratum basale. This is a layer that we have the stem cell for skin cells. So skin cells are called keratinocytes right here. And so this layer, you can see that the cells divide. Cells is a single cell, become two nucleus, divided, divide multiple, and then when they produce new cell, new daughter cells, they push it up. They push it up. So when they get pushed up, they lose the blood supply because epidermis do not have blood flow, do not have capillary or blood vessel going through. The only layer, the closest one, the closest resource or closest source for oxygen and glucose is come from the blood vessel in the dermis. And so when they got pushed up, they are further away from dermis. And so they lose the oxygen supply, they lose the glucose supply, and they will die. And so when they get pushed up, they will die. When they die, they become smaller, become drier, become thinner. And so when they get pushed up, they become gradually become, and in the meantime, the cells are filled with a protein called keratin. So this is a keratinocyte. So it produces a lot of protein inside of it, make it very dry and also dead. So it's very much just dead skin, and that provide you the protection. So that's that. So the key thing here, while we have many layers, the only layer that I need you to pay attention is this layer, stratum basale, because this is the layer that we have the stem cell. You also see the stem cell for keratinocyte. You also see the stem cell for the melanocyte. This is the one to provide the pigments, the tone, color tone, or skin tone of your skin. Yeah. So that's that. Skin has the hair. With this one, I just want to provide you a figure to give you the the terminology. So here you have the hair. Here, hair is also controlled by a muscle. It's called rectus pili muscle. This one is controlled by our sympathetic nervous system, that when you are fight or fly, that will pull your hair, and then your hair will get erector. So basically it will get straight. Yeah. And so in human, we don't see it that obvious, but we see this pretty obvious in other mammals. Yeah. So that's just the terminology. And here you can see that skin, here is the epidermis. So here is the epidermis, and here is the dermis. So you can see the dermis coming down here. This is where you have the blood supply. And so this blood supply for your hair, they nourishing your stem cell of your hair follicle. And those blood supply coming into this region. This region is called hair papilla. So that's the one that I want you to get your attention. Hair has a name it's called hair shaft. Hair shaft has a layer. Basically, this outer layer is a dead skin cell. It's very much like here. The outer layer is a dead skin cell, and it's also a keratinocyte. So hair proteins is very much keratin, just like your skin. Yeah. So that's that. Hey, by the way, I don't know when I pause the recording, so I will just go back to I assume that was here. Let me I have no idea why it's paused. But let me go back to here. Go back to here. Yeah. I assume this was where we stopped. If we talked about this one already, that's fine. It's a repetition. Um, yeah, so double check. Yeah, I am so sorry. I don't know when it was uh paused. And I went through a lot and realized it. So we talked about the hair. So one thing I want to get your attention is this is a erector muscle, erector pili muscle. This one connect your hair, and this can be triggered by uh, fight or flight sympathetic nerve. And down here you have the hair follicle. This whole thing is the hair follicle, and the hair is also called hair shaft. Hair shaft has three main layer, and basically the outer layer is dead skin. Those are keratinocyte. Here again, sebaceous gland. Down here you have the this one is a blood supply. So this one is the hair papilla. So that's the hair. And then this slide show you three layer of your skin. You have the epidermis, dermis, hypodermis. As I mentioned earlier, epidermis do not have the blood supply. Dermis, you start to see blood supply. Hypodermis, you have fat. So that's three major things. For the dermis, you is also separate into two layers. One layer is called papillary. So this is hair papilla. So this one is basically is a continuous from this papillary layer, just smaller here, but you have a lot of this papillary. So this layer is called papillary layer. And then down here, the second layer or more inner layer of the dermis is called reticular dermis. So that's that. So if you may open your lab, let's answer the questions. So in your lab, let me switch my screen and to go over some of those. One second, let me make a correction here because yes, so that's that. So let me share screen, stop sharing, and then let me share again. lab right here. So this is one. This figure we saw it earlier. So you have let's go through it. A is a sweat pore. You can go to the slides. You can see that's the labeling. And then B here is the hair follicle. C here is that muscle, the erector pili muscle. D here is the sebaceous gland. E here is the eccrine sweat gland. So this one is hypotonic sweat. F here is hair root plexus. So this is a sensory receptor to detect your hair movement. So it's not going to control it, but it senses it. If your hair is going to get touched, so you feel it. And the GH is the papilla. So it's the hair papilla. G here. G is apocrine sweat gland. So this is more condensed sweat coming into the hair follicle and coming out from this hair follicle. GH. I is fat. So this region, this layer is the hypodermis. I. J and K are dermis. K is the papillary. J is reticular. L is the epidermis. Let me switch back to the answer this one provide is not accurate, so I'm not going to show you that. So let me show you here. Stop sharing and share again. Not this one, that's this one. So the J is the papillary dermis. Sorry, J is reticular dermis. K is papillary dermis. L is epidermis. So that's that. The next table is about this one. So you have the lab. So I will just go from these slides. I'm not going to show you the lab again because we can avoid switching back and forth. But you have a lab and the answer is all here. So A is straightened corneum. B is straightened lucidum. C is straightened granulosum. D is straightened spinosum. E is straightened basilae, and F is dermis. So that is the skin. And we will continue to talk about these, the next sensory system, that is the smelling. Smelling is done by your nasal cavity. Let me just right, I was drinking some water. Let me share my screen again. Peripheral nervous system. Sure. All right. So that is it. Let me see if I record it. I don't want to make a mistake again. All right, so that's that. So by your nasal cavity, your sensory neurons reaching out to the roof of your nasal cavity. And you can see that this is the air coming through. This is the odor molecule, odorant molecules. They will bind on the receptor. You can see that they are different color, meaning that they detect different kind of the odorant molecules. We have about like 400 different kind of sensory receptor for smelling, so we can detect many different kind of smelling. Then this nerve will, when they bind on it, it will trigger it. The nerve will go in through the bone. This bone is called cribriform right here. So we learned about this one in our bone lab. And then this one coming in, the nerve will go into the olfactory bulb. This nerve will then go into your brain through cranial nerve. So this is a sensory organ for your smelling. The next one is the sensory organ for your eye, for your vision. Sensory organ for your vision is your eye. And particularly the sensory nerve are located in the back of your eye. The layer is called retina. And so this is the organ of your vision, the sensory organ of your vision. And so light coming through cornea. Cornea is totally transparent. And coming through here you have fluid here. Here you have an opening. Light will coming into it through lens. Lens can control the refraction. Lights coming through and then get bent. Then light image will get focused on here. This is called fovea. Let me show you the name here, fovea. So that is the fovea. Surrounding here is called macula. So let me show you here. So this one is the fovea, and this surrounding this region, this larger area is the macula. And so light coming through it, lens focus your vision, make it focus on the fovea. And macula, this whole region will be able to detect your vision, your visual field, the thing you see. Cornea continue with the sclera. Sclera is the most outer layer of your eyeball. Sclera will continue and continue here, and then this one will continue to your brain. This part is the dura mater. I have a naming here, dura mater. So sclera coming down here, dura mater. Dura mater is forming the outer skin of your brain. So your brain tissue basically is extended all the way from your brain all the way here to your eyes. Yeah. So that's cornea. Sorry, sclera. Sclera is the outer layer. Uh, so that's cornea, and then lens. Pupil size is controlled by the iris. Iris is connected with the ciliary body. Ciliary body has a blood supply, so this ciliary body will continue with the choroid layer. So this is the second layer, the middle layer of the back of your eye. And this choroid layer is enriched in blood circulation. Coming down here, like going through this region is called vitreous body. We probably has a name down here, vitreous body. Let's go through and then it hit on retina. So retina is the sensory neurons located. Here you have the photoreceptor to detect the photon, to detect the light. And so the back of your eye, you have the most inner layer, that's the retina, that detect the light, that serve the function for seeing. Light hit on it, signal will pass through through this layer, and then merge together into optic nerve. And then optic nerve is a cranial nerve. This one will send signal to your brain. So in the back of your eye, you have the retina. That is the sensory nerve. Choroid, this one provide the blood supply, has a lot of blood vessel flow through it. Sclera, the most outer layer. Sclera is the tough tissue layer, or like protective layer. This one is an extension from dura mater. That is the protective layer of your brain. Yeah. So that is the primary anatomical naming again. As I mentioned earlier, is naming, is wording, and it's new friends. You just need to know this name, repetition, and when you repeat their calling their name, thinking about their location and the function. Yeah. So this is just repeat what we say and adding some more naming. But just make sure that hold on a second. Let me just yeah, nothing. All right. So just adding more naming. Hello? Can you hear me good? I suppose, huh? I suppose you can hear me well. Hold on a second, let me double check on the yeah, it should be okay. I suppose should be okay. All right. Yeah. Maybe I can turn it louder. I don't know. Can I turn it louder? Is it louder? I don't know. I don't know if it's louder. Okay. Is it louder? I don't think so. Anyway, all right. I'll just keep it the same way. All right. Okay. Okay. So just getting close. I just want to make sure that my recording is successful. That's all. All right. So this one, I think that the purpose of showing this one is to just show you what is the macula and then what is the fovea. So, and then retina, again, this is the choroid layer, and then outer layer is the sclera. Yeah. So, all right. Are we recording? Let me double check. I just want to make sure. I think so. Yes, we are recording. Good. I'm panic, man. All right. So, ready for nervous system. Sure. Yes. All right. So, so that's that. And then coming down here, this is a typical image. When doctor look at your eye, you won't see something like this, right? They won't see something like this. They will use camera, getting very close. I think you can do the same thing with your cell phone. Just getting very close to your eye and take picture, and then you will get something like this. So this is called a fundus image. Let's look at the back of your eye. This is one to detect your retina. So I just want to give you the orientation. So what do we see here? So what we see here is that we see retina is all over the entire fundus image except this region. This one is called optic disc. This region is the merge of your optic nerve and here. So all your nerve coming down here and they merge here to form the optic nerve. And so this region is the optic disc. This is the only region you cannot sense your photon because here is the photoreceptor is all the way here, and this one is just nerve bundle. They don't have the photoreceptor, so they cannot detect. Another thing is that this central portion, you will see blood coming out. This is called retinal blood vessel. Central artery, I think some other people call it that way. Let me see if I have that. Central retinal artery, right? So coming out. And you will see that with the fundus image right here. So the fundus image, you can see the blood vessel coming out. Yes, and they will distribute on the top of your retina. This one is called fovea. That is where your vision is focused in this area. So you see very condensed. You see a little bit darker here. It's much more condensed. Photoreceptor present here in the macula and the fovea area. So that is the fundus image. Our eyeball can be controlled. It's controlled by six. Each eyeball is controlled by six muscles. And so you can turn your eyeball up, down, left, right, and clockwise, counterclockwise. And so you have three muscles of six muscles. And so you have lateral rectus, medial rectus. When your eye moving to the middle, that's a medial rectus. When your eye moving to a lateral, it's lateral rectus. So when you excite the lateral rectus of one eye, you excite the medial rectus on the other eye. So your vision is coherent. And the inferior rectus and the superior rectus. We also have a muscle to turn it clockwise and turn it counterclockwise. Those are the superior oblique. So this one is the superior oblique. And this one is the inferior oblique. So that's that. I think that's the eye portion. And that's a work on the lab. Shall we? All right, let's do it. So let me just share my screen to the lab. Stop sharing. And then share the lab. And so basically the very first one is one that we just saw earlier. So this is the lab. So just want to orient you to the page that we are talking about. So here are the six muscle, superior rectus, inferior rectus, and so here A is superior rectus, B is the superior oblique, C is the middle rectus, D is the inferior oblique, E is inferior rectus, F is lateral rectus. Now next page is the eye, and I think in our lab we have exact the same picture. So you can use that one as a reference. So let's go over it all together. Here, it's not very clear what it's pointing at, but in your book, it's probably easier. So this one connect with a fiber that holds the lens. So A is the zone new fibers that holds the lens. B is ear, ciliary body. C is outer portion, choroid. No, that's wrong. C is not choroid. C is a sclera. So that's wrong. Let me correct it. Yeah. So that is wrong, even though he has this person has a good handwriting, but that is wrong. All right, let me correct it. Let me do the correction. I hope this one do well. This one, the C here is the sclera. Man, why is that small? So small. I don't know. Let me change it. I don't know why is that small. Okay, maybe it can be bigger. Right, sclera. That's better. So let's see. All right. What's it? So if C is the outside, that's good. Let me take a look at the book. So maybe it's the gaining issue. Let me see that. Yeah, it's supposed to be scalar because it's outer layer, most outer layer. I don't see why it's not scalar. All right, so let's see. D, if this layer, I think is the retina. Yes, D is retina. And so this pink portion will be the choroid. It doesn't really show here. So DE, E is the optic nerve, so that's correct. F is the optic disc. So we don't see the disc in this view, but if we do the fundus image, we can see the optic disc. H is the pupil. I is the lens, it's pointing at this portion. J is the cornea. Yeah, so that's correct. Cornea is supposed to be transparent, but I assume that's because, yeah, so that's cornea. So that's that, all right? Now, next one is the ear. So let's go to our lecture, and then we talk about this one. Then we will talk about this one. So share again. All right, so that's the eye structure. This is the optic disc that we just mentioned. It's just fundus image. It's easier to appreciate its disc-like. Now, this is the organ for your hearing. So the sound wave travel through the air. It going into, it's collected by your outer external ear. It's called pinea. And then sounds go through the ear canal. It bounces on the membrane. This membrane is called tympanic membrane. And then it will trigger the bones to transduce, to amplify that vibration. There are 3 bones. They are malleus, incus, stapes. So that's 3 bones. Then it will transduce that into the oval windows. It will then travel along the tubules into this organ. This organ is called cochlea. This is where we have the hair cell to pick up those vibrations. Let me show you the hair cell right here. So here is the cochlea. Here, sound wave will travel along it. If you open one of these tunnel, you can see that in here, you have the hair cell. Hair cell have this hair. It's called stereocilia. And then any vibration will bounce on it. Then it will excite it and transmit that signal through the cochlea nerve into here, cochlea nerve into your brain. So that's the sound. In here, we also have another group of organ or structure. Their function is not to provide the hearing, but their function is to provide a detection of gravity and body balance. So here we have this structure is called vestibular apparatus, and it includes this large portion as well as 3 semicircular canal. So these three are horizontally oriented to each other. So one is more vertical, one is more horizontal, the other one is more the other direction, because we are living in a three-dimensional space. Yeah, so it will detect any movement, either rotate in the front, rotate in the back, rotate inside. They will pick up those rotation. Yeah, and then these gravity or body balance signal will be transduced through vestibular nerve. Vestibular nerve will be bundled with the cochlear nerve to form cranial nerve 8. It's called vestibular cochlear nerve, and this nerve is going to your brain. So that's our nervous system. Yeah. Our auditory sensory organ. And so the ear can have a external ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. So there's three segments. Yeah, and in the inner ear, you have this important structure to pick up the sound as well as to pick up your body balance. So that's that. All right. And this is just the last slide, so I will just finish it, and then we go to the lab report. So the last sensory organ is for test. This is called the test is done by a test buds. So here is test buds, and you can see the test buds are all over your. This is the location of test buds, your tongues, your soft palate, your throat, your foodway, a little bit here. This is called the esophagus right here, foodway. Yeah. So you can pick up all these food, pick up all these tests by these test buds. And then the nerve will then transduce the signal into your brain, because this is your cranial. So transduce the signal through the cranial nerve to your brain. So that's that. So let's move on to the lab. Let me stop sharing, and then I will share the lab. Peripheral nerve lab. Share. All right, so that's this one here. So here we have A, cochlea, B, semicircular canal, C, vestibular apparatus, D, E are those bones, E is that membrane. So where is it? E is another bone, D, E, F, G, yeah, and then H. Yeah, so let's answer this one. So A is a cochlea. Let me get this one ready so you can hear me better. Let me just move it. I think it's still here, right? Yeah, I think it's still here. All right, good. Nice. All right. So A is cochlea, B is semicircular canal. Right here, B. C is vestibular apparatus. D, E are these bones. E is the most close one to the membrane. The membrane is called tympanic membrane. So E is the malleus. Then you have the next one, that is the incus. D is the incus. And then F right here is the acoustic canal, external acoustic canal. And then G is the membrane, tympanic membrane. And then GH. H is here. is the is this Tantian tube. So that's that. All right, so that's that. Now let's answer these questions. We'll just try not to show it here, so we can kind of think about it. List 3 main functions associated with the integumentary system. What is a function of your skin? So think about it. What do you think? What is a function? What does skin do to you? And so skin has a protection. It protects you from the bacteria virus going to your body. So this is first line of the body defense. Skin, we just say that it has a lot of sensory on it. So it provides you the sensory to know the world by touching or yeah, and the temperature and pain help you to withdraw from the dangerous, right? So that's the second thing. Third thing is that we know that skin has a sweat gland, so it regulate the body temperature. So that's the 3 things that we mentioned in this lab. So here is, I'm not so sure if that's the answer, but let's see. Protection, that's good. Regulation of body temperature, that's good. Sensation, yeah, so you can sense part of the sensory nervous system. So that's that. What is the difference between sweat gland produced by eccrine and apocrine? Eccrine is more light, the sweat is lighter. Apocrine is more condensed. So we call this one is hypotonic, more light. So that's that. So eccrine sweat glands help regulate body temperature by producing odorless. All right, that's another way to say it. It doesn't have too much of the contents in the sweat. While apocrine sweat gland produce a thicker, milky secretion may have an odor. Yeah, so because it has some more stuff in that sweat. Now, what are the histological? Let me see if I can just move it a little bit so you don't see the answer. What are some of the histological characteristics that allows for distinction of apocrine from eccrine sweat gland? So I would say that eccrine sweat gland directly lead to the surface of the skin by sweat pore. However, the apocrine, if we do the structure, look at the histology, you can see that it's duct, sweat tube or sweat duct. Doesn't go to the skin surface of skin. Instead, it connect into the hair follicle. So that would be my answer. Let's see. Histological characteristic allow the distinction that found all over the body. That's a good way. All over the body. Well, apocrine found with the hair, right? So it has a specific area like armpits. So there's hair. Also, eccrine ducts open directly to the surface of skin. So that will be my answer. Well, apocrine ducts open into the hair follicle. Yeah. So histologically, that will be that because that's how you tell which one is which by looking at their connection. So 4, importance of basally. So straighten basally, that the function, the importance because where this is where your skin regenerate or renewal. Yeah. So make new cells help with healing. Yeah. So that's a good way to say it. Good way to say it. Name 3 layers of the eye, provide a brief description. So here, I think it's talking about the back, the posterior portion of the eye. So you have the outer layer is the sclera, and then the middle layer is choroid, and then the inner layer is the retina. And the function of their function, sclera provide the protection, structure and protection of your eyeball. Also muscle attached to it. That's good good consideration. And so your eyeball can move. Choroid is where you have the blood supply. So it has a lot of blood vessels, provide the nutrition for your retina. Your retina is provided by two layers of the blood supply. One is just on the top of it, and the other one is from the back. So from the back is from the choroid. As for retina, here you have the sensory nerve photoreceptor to detect light. So this is where you can see what you can see, how you can see. Yeah. Name three bones of the middle ear in order. So this one transduce the sound wave, amplify it, and into the cochlea. So three bones are the medius, incus, and the stapes. Yeah. What's the importance of choroid layer? So that's this layer. It provides the blood vessel. So it's nourishing your retina. So I think that's the right important thing, the most important thing. Yeah, so it nourishing your retina. I think that should be good enough. Whether that light absorption, this for retina is not choroid. Control eye temperature, that possible. Uh, because the blood flow going through it. So explain why we have the blind spot. So blind spots are this optic disc because over there we don't have photoreceptor. So that's that. Blind spot in our eye because small area in the back optic nerve goes. And so this one basically is the optic disc that doesn't have, you don't have any photoreceptor there. And that is it. All right. So I hope it helps with your lab. And let me know if you have any question, okay? All right. That's that.